This wasn't supposed to turn into a scandal. It was just a tattoo, ink, letters, something that should have stayed on skin and off the internet. But somehow, one sentence from Nevi flipped the entire narrative upside down and dragged Carlissa straight back into the chaos like a magnet for mess. When Nevi said the blueface tattoo wasn't misspelled, the internet froze for half a second, then absolutely lost its mind. Because let's be honest, this wasn't about spelling. This was about ego, pride, receipts, and people refusing to be wrong in public. The moment those words left Nevi's mouth, it was like someone lit a match in a room full of gasoline-soaked opinions. Screenshots resurfaced. Old clips got resurrected like zombies. And Carlissa, she did not stay quiet. At all. Her reaction wasn't calm. It wasn't diplomatic. It was the kind of response that lets you know this conversation has history, layers, and unfinished beef. Suddenly, everyone had a side. Either the tattoo was never wrong, or someone had been lying with confidence this whole time. And when confidence meets contradiction, things get ugly fast. This tiny detail exploded into a full-blown spectacle that makes reality TV look underproduced. Because when family, pride, and public embarrassment collide, facts stop mattering and chaos takes the mic. Let's rewind, because this mess didn't start with Carlissa reacting. It started with a tattoo that should have been harmless and somehow became a cultural debate. A name on skin, letters permanently inked, something people usually triple-check before letting a needle anywhere near their body. But when blueface tattoos entered the chat, nothing stayed simple. The internet had already clocked the tattoo a long time ago, whispering that something looked off, that the spelling felt creative. And for months, that rumor sat there, simmering, waiting for someone brave or reckless enough to poke it. That someone turned out to be Nevi. When she casually stated that the blueface tattoo wasn't misspelled, she didn't just correct a rumor. She detonated it. Because saying it wasn't spelled wrong isn't neutral. It's definitive. It implies everyone else was wrong, dramatic, or flat-out lying. And the internet does not take kindly to being told it imagined something, especially when screenshots exist like historical documents. The clip spread fast. Faster than context. Faster than explanation. Faster than common sense. One sentence became a headline, and suddenly timelines were split between people zooming in on old photos and others arguing semantics like their GPA depended on it. Was it a stylistic choice? Was it intentional? Was it a font issue? Or was this a case of rewriting history with confidence? That's where Carlissa enters the story, because silence was never an option. Carlissa has never been known for quietly watching narratives spin without inserting herself. If there's a microphone nearby, she will find it. If there's a rumor circulating, she will comment. And when Nevi said the tattoo wasn't misspelled, Carlissa reacted like someone who felt a nerve get hit. Her response didn't feel random. It felt loaded. Like this wasn't just about ink, but about who gets to control the story. Carlissa's reaction carried that familiar energy of someone who's tired of watching people rewrite events she remembers clearly. And when someone reacts that fast and that strongly, it's usually because there's history attached. The tone mattered. This wasn't playful disagreement. This wasn't a light correction. This was frustration wrapped in sarcasm, with a side of "don't try to gaslight me in public," because that's what this felt like to a lot of people watching. Not a debate over spelling, but a battle over credibility. Who's telling the truth? Who's protecting whose image? And who looks foolish if proven wrong? As soon as Carlissa's reaction hit the internet, the temperature changed. People weren't laughing anymore. They were investigating. Old posts got dragged back from digital graves. Screenshots were compared like forensic evidence. Everyone suddenly became a spelling expert and a tattoo historian at the same time. And the wild part, nobody actually cared about the tattoo anymore. They cared about being right. The situation escalated because it tapped into something bigger. Blueface's image has always been surrounded by chaos, controversy, and a refusal to take anything seriously. So the idea that even his tattoo could become a point of confusion felt on brand. But when Nivi defended it, it felt like image control, like damage mitigation, like someone trying to smooth over something that had already gone viral. Carlos's reaction read like resistance to that cleanup, like she wasn't about to let the narrative get polished after the fact. Her words didn't sound rehearsed. They sounded annoyed. And annoyance is dangerous because it invites honesty without filters. The kind of honesty that doesn't care how it lands, only that it said. Fans immediately took sides, and the division was sharp. Some accused Carlosa of stirring drama where none was needed. Others praised her for saying what everyone else was thinking. Because let's be real, the internet hates inconsistency more than it hates mess. And when someone says one thing today that contradicts what everyone believed yesterday, people want answers, not vibes. This wasn't about loyalty anymore. It was about perception. About who looks foolish if the tattoo really was misspelled and who looks dishonest if it wasn't. And once pride enters the chat, logic exits immediately. People stop backing down. They double down. Carlos's reaction added fuel because it wasn't vague. It wasn't diplomatic. It didn't leave room for interpretation. It felt like a direct challenge to Nivi's statement, even if it wasn't framed as an attack. And the internet loves a challenge, especially when it involves family dynamics, public embarrassment, and a celebrity name that trends whether he's silent or screaming. The craziest part was how fast this small moment turned into a referendum on truth. People weren't just asking about the tattoo anymore. They were questioning motives. Why say it now? Why correct it publicly? Why react so strongly? Everyone assumed there was more going on beneath the surface, and in this universe, that assumption is usually right. As the first wave of reactions rolled in, one thing became clear. This wasn't going to die quietly. There were too many egos involved, too many receipts waiting to be pulled, and too many people emotionally invested in being proven right. This was the spark. The calm before the digital storm. The moment when a simple claim turned into a full-blown controversy with no exit strategy. And if this was just the opening act, the internet was already sharpening its knives for what came next. Once Carlosa reacted, the situation stopped being a conversation and became a collision. The kind where nobody is actually listening. Everyone is yelling, and facts get trampled under ego-like shoes at a sold-out concert. The internet didn't ask for clarification. It chose sides immediately, because that's how digital chaos works. You don't wait for the truth. You pick a team and defend it like it's family. On one side, you had people backing Nivi, insisting that the tattoo debate was overblown from the start. They argued it was a font issue, a stylistic choice, or a case of people wanting to clown for no reason. According to them, the internet had exaggerated the whole thing and Carlosa was dragging it back into the spotlight for attention. Simple, clean, convenient. On the other side, you had the skeptics, the screenshot soldiers, the zoom-in detectives who don't trust anything that doesn't come with receipts. They pulled old images, circled letters, slowed clips down, and compared angles like they were preparing evidence for court. And once those images resurfaced, the conversation shifted from "was it misspelled?" to "why are we pretending it never was?" This is where it got ugly. Because when people start accusing each other of rewriting history, it's no longer about ink. It's about credibility. And credibility is currency in the public eye. Lose that, and everything else starts looking questionable too. Carlos's reaction kept getting replayed, dissected, and interpreted depending on which side you were on. Supporters said she was keeping it real, refusing to let people gaslight the public. Critics said she was stirring drama and inserting herself where she didn't belong. Both sides spoke with absolute confidence, and neither side backed down an inch. Meanwhile, commentary pages went into overdrive. Reaction videos multiplied. Everyone had a theory. Some claimed this was about protecting Blueface's image. Others said it was family tension bubbling back to the surface. A few went even further, suggesting this was part of a bigger pattern where small details get smoothed over to avoid embarrassment. And once that idea caught on, it spread like wildfire. Memes followed immediately. because humor is the internet's favorite weapon? Side-by-side comparisons of the tattoo popped up with captions like same but different and font doing a lot of heavy lifting. People joked that the tattoo had gone through character development. Others compared the debate to arguing whether a dress is blue or gold. Except this time everyone was emotionally invested and offended. Nivi's statement, which may have been meant to shut things down, did the exact opposite. The more people defended it, the more suspicious others became. Because in internet culture, certainty without proof reads as arrogance. And arrogance invites challenge. The irony was impossible to ignore. A conversation about spelling turned into a masterclass on how narratives are controlled. Who gets to correct the record? Who benefits from downplaying a mistake? Who benefits from downplaying a mistake? And why does it matter so much to insist nothing was ever wrong? These questions hung in the air while people argued loudly beneath them. Blueface's name trended again, without him saying a word, which somehow made everything worse. Silence became suspicious. Silence became strategy. Silence became another layer people tried to decode. Was he laughing? Was he annoyed? Was he letting the women around him take the heat? Nobody knew, but everyone assumed that the worst. Carlissa, for her part, didn't retreat. Her reaction became a reference point, a symbol of resistance to what some saw as revisionist storytelling. Even people who didn't like her admitted one thing: she wasn't pretending this was nothing. And in a culture that thrives on pretending, that alone stirred chaos. As hours passed, the debate grew louder and more personal. People weren't arguing about letters anymore. They were arguing about honesty, accountability, and who always gets protected when embarrassment shows up. The tattoo became a metaphor, a tiny symbol for a much bigger issue. And once a topic turns symbolic, it stops being solvable. Because symbols don't need answers. They need believers. By the time the internet reached peak outrage, one thing was clear. This wasn't going to end with someone admitting they were wrong. No one was backing down. Not publicly. Not with pride on the line. The situation had officially outgrown its original context and transformed into something messier, louder, and far more personal than anyone intended. The question was no longer who was right. The question was who would pay the price when the noise finally settled. When the volume finally dipped, the damage was already done. That's the thing about internet storms. They don't need to last long to leave marks. By the time the timelines cooled off, the tattoo debate had carved itself into something much bigger than letters on skin. It turned into a referendum on honesty and loyalty, and who gets to quietly fix mistakes while everyone else gets dragged for noticing them. Carlissa didn't walk away unscathed. Her reaction, whether people agreed with it or not, reinforced her reputation as someone who will say the uncomfortable thing out loud. For some viewers, that made her a truth teller. For others, it confirmed what they already believed, that she thrives in conflict and doesn't know when to disengage. The truth sat somewhere in the middle, but the internet rarely lives there. Nivi, on the other hand, found herself in a position nobody envies. Once you make a definitive public statement, you're married to it. There's no editing, no walking it back without looking suspicious. Even people who supported her started noticing the pressure building. Because defending a claim becomes harder when it's under constant microscopic inspection. Every new screenshot felt like another cross-examination. And then there was Blueface, whose presence loomed over the entire situation like a shadow that never spoke. He didn't need to comment. The argument revolved around him anyway. His name stayed trending, his image stayed intact enough, and the women around him absorbed most of the impact. That imbalance didn't go unnoticed. People started asking why he always seemed insulated while everyone else fought on his behalf. As days passed, the conversation shifted from outrage to reflection. Not because people suddenly matured, but because there was nowhere left to escalate. The receipts had been posted. The memes had peaked. The arguments had looped. What remained was an uncomfortable realization. This entire situation existed because admitting a small mistake publicly is still harder than defending a questionable narrative loudly. The tattoo itself faded into the background, but its symbolism stuck. It became shorthand for a larger pattern. Fix it quietly, deny it confidently, and wait for the internet to get bored. And most of the time, that strategy works. This time, it didn't work fast enough. Carlos's role in all of this sparked deeper conversations about family dynamics and public loyalty. Should she have reacted? Should she have stayed quiet? The opinions were endless. But what couldn't be ignored was that her reaction disrupted the usual flow. It forced people to stop nodding along and actually question what they were being told. And disruption always comes at a cost. Nevi's credibility took a hit, not necessarily because she was proven wrong, but because certainty without transparency invites suspicion. In the age of screenshots, confidence alone isn't enough. People want proof, and when proof feels absent or unclear, trust erodes quickly. That erosion doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, in comment sections and reaction videos that never fully let go. Public perception settled into something colder and quieter. Less outrage, more side-eye. Less yelling, more remembering. Because the internet never forgets moments like this. They resurface whenever a similar controversy pops up. A reference point. I remember when waiting to be activated. What made this fallout especially messy was how unnecessary it all felt in hindsight. A simple acknowledgement could have ended it. A laugh, a shrug, a yeah, it looked off, we fixed it. Instead, pride took the wheel. And pride always drives straight into oncoming traffic. Industry watchers noticed the pattern too. How small details turn into loyalty tests. How women in these circles often end up carrying the emotional and reputational weight while the central figure stays silent. It wasn't lost on anyone that Blueface walked away relatively untouched while everyone else got dissected. That imbalance became part of the conversation, even if it wasn't the headline. As the dust settled, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't really about a tattoo. It was about control of narrative. About who gets to define reality in public spaces, and about how quickly truth becomes optional when embarrassment is on the line. Carlos's reaction forced a pause. Nevi's statement forced a defense. And the internet forced everyone to choose a side, even when the truth didn't neatly belong to either. This story didn't end with a resolution. It ended with a lesson. In the digital age, denial doesn't erase evidence. Silence doesn't equal innocence, and confidence doesn't replace clarity. The chaos faded, but the question stayed. And the next time a small detail gets brushed off with certainty, people will remember this moment. Because once trust cracks, even slightly, everything else starts looking misspelled. So here we are. What started as a couple of letters on skin turned into a full-blown lesson on pride, perception, and how fast the internet can flip a narrative upside down. If you're still here, don't pretend you weren't entertained, confused, irritated, or secretly taking notes. This wasn't just tattoo talk. This was ego versus receipts, confidence versus clarity, and silence doing more damage than noise ever could. Now let's talk business. If this breakdown had you nodding your head, yelling at your screen, or scrolling back like, wait, did I miss something? Then go ahead and smash that like button like it personally disrespected you. Drop a comment and tell me whose side you're on, or better yet, tell me why you think nobody wanted to admit the obvious. Keep it honest, keep it loud, and don't hold back, because polite opinions don't survive in scandals like this. And if you're watching without subscribing, that's risky behavior. This channel stays on top of celebrity slip-ups, quiet contradictions, and the moments people hope you forget. We don't wait for press releases. We read between the lines and zoom in where others look away. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next controversy is already loading while we speak. Remember this. In the age of screenshots, nothing stays buried. In the age of confidence, denial gets louder. And in the world of fame, even the smallest details can explode if the wrong person says the wrong thing at the wrong time. This is Fame FLAWS, where celebrity drama isn't just watched. It's questioned, exposed, and remembered. Exposed and remembered.